do we do the intro all here? Just do it all in one?
Do it all.
Yeah, all right.
Remember, it's a podcast. Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. How nice.
You're like automatic drivers who are like, now how does this manual car work again?
Yeah. I don't know how to do things without it being in like a tight 3-minute block. I'll try to loosen up. Okay. All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to Silver Bullet. My name's Lewis Hobba.
My name's Michael Hing.
And this is a podcast where we invite a guest on, a friend, someone who has tried to fix themselves in some way. And, we try the same method and see if it worked for us.
Yes, and so far we are still not fixed, but we have found a guest today who we're both big fans of. We love his comedy. We love... Well, mostly his comedy, I guess. There's not much else to him.
What about my body, my face, sort of surface? I want just how I look.
He's not that funny, but damn, he's hot.
Chris Parker, all the way from New Zealand, has joined us today. Hello, Chris.
All the way for the podcast. Thank you
Yes,
so much for
yes.
having me.
A little bit of context for you here. Apart from being a wonderful comedian, you have been a guest, what do you call it? Competitor on Treasure Island in New Zealand?
Celebrity Treasure Island,
Yes.
a show no Australians know of, but is big enough clearly that we can have multiple seasons of New Zealand celebrities that, again, no Australian has ever heard of.
What else? Another fun thing about you is you have sold an item of clothing to a museum.
Yeah, this was also in the lockdown. I made a hat out of felt. In what was probably a manic episode, looking back, but at the time felt like a stroke of creative genius. And the hat got bought by the Auckland Museum, and it was on display for 2.5 years in a glass case.
What are they paying for a self-made hat?
Oh, you're going to hate this answer.
Good cash or?
They gave me good cash, which I then donated to charity.
Oh, God.
God, I'm the worst. And then I got a photo of me wearing the hat as well, and I sold that to Te Papa, who are like the national museum.
Right.
So I'm in two museums. I don't know. But one's a digital archive, whatever.
I guess that balance between manic episode and creative pursuit is I guess relevant to what we do here at Silver Bullet. Because obviously manic episodes, they can be great, but also maybe they're not healthy long term, potentially.
I love that I'm here, and I'm here to help you both out. Because what exactly are you looking for?
Just the Silver Bullet. We're looking for one thing that'll solve all of our problems, okay?
Everything.
Yeah, I mean,
so total enlightenment?
that's the dream, obviously.
That's the dream, but
Or
realistically...
physical hotness. Do you want that part? Do you want
Are
abs
they
out of this
different?
as well?
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm a bit like you. If I achieve physical perfection, I assume enlightenment is a part of the package.
Because I also am always looking for a quick fix. I just want something that it's like, oh my God, it was just iron. And then I have the iron tablets. And then it's like, oh my God, I'm shredding. Wait, look at these abs. Where did these abs come from? And I'm so present. And I can focus. I'm
So the iron tablets were helpful?
I don't have the attention span to sort of research it, but
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of energy that we bring to life. So that idea where you're like, look, is there a short-term fix? Maybe there isn't. Is the secret to life just doing a lot of small things every day over a long period of time?
Don't you
Maybe.
hate that?
But what
Don't
a
you
nightmare.
hate that? I hate when they're like, a habit takes... I'm just like, shut up. I don't want to develop a habit. I want just...
A product.
I want an injection.
Yeah. Yes. So
Well, in many ways, injecting can be a habit,
An expensive habit.
So, Chris, what was the silver bullet what's your silver bullet you recommend to us?
Well, this got given to me as a birthday present for my 30th birthday from a friend. And I was like, wild call for this present, but then I'm curious. And it was a flotation tank. That is not a tank that floats, but a tank that you float inside
it was
of.
a gift from the military.
A nuclear tank that was floating. No, nuclear waste. No, it was
Is it like a sex? Sorry, what are you?
sex thing.
Is it a sex
It
thing?
is a sex thing.
Sensory deprivation?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It is a sensory deprivation tank. You may have seen them from an episode of The Simpsons,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, I think Homer gets stuck in one and rolls down a hill, maybe.
Which is interesting because I'm like, okay, they've been around for a while. Because I always thought it was a new thing. And often you'll see league players or who are again, ripped, like just shredded, and like they're just like sitting on the back of their float tank, like thumbs up for like some sort of paid promotional whatever.
Yeah, and
they're
you
like,
think the reason they're ripped could be the float
the
tank.
amount of time in that tank. You know, the longer you're in that tank, the less you're eating those donuts, and the more those abs come. And so I've always been curious. However, there has been a large layer of fear in terms of locking myself in a tank. You know, considering how much time I spend in the closet, I'm just like, I don't know if a tank is any better. And so
It's a more chic closet.
yeah.
Come out of the tank fully straight. How did this happen?
I floated that gay right out of me. So you're lying down in like 30 centimeters of highly salted water, and then there's some nice soft light, kind of giving spa pool lights, and then you can tap them off, and then suddenly it's black in there, you can't hear a thing, and you're floating. And the idea is, because you're not touching anything, you're not thinking, you're not hearing anything, you're able to like suspend your consciousness and go to like another realm, and you're like one with the earth. You're just a cell floating in the universe, like you're not who you are. And it's like, I think it's as close as you can get to like enlightenment, maybe quickly within like 45 minutes in sort of central downtown Auckland.
So was that your experience? You were able to shut up because you've got. I mean, having known you a little bit, I think you have quite a busy brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's my experience. First and foremost, I hate having my clothes off. You know, like
I was surprised because we've done it. I was surprised that it was a nude experience.
yeah.
What do you mean you were surprised it was new?
I guess I just assumed you'd wear like swimmers.
Oh,
Like I thought that there would be a bather situation, like going to a public spa or a public
Yeah.
pool.
No, for total enlightenment, you're not in Speedos. You know, you have to be totally free. And again, that's just one layer of anxiety that I don't need, because I don't want to be like, oh my God, there's going to be like a car crash outside and my car's going to crash. And they're going to be like, we should tell him. And then they're going to like open my chamber and I'm going to be like totally like released, just my whole body out. Like,
Do you think
just
you'll be fully
lying.
nude? They'll be like, "What are you doing?"
we said put on the tongs. And so I'm immediately like, they're going to walk in, you know, while I'm lying there. And so that was just one layer of anxiety that I just didn't need. And then also, I think, honestly, I'm afraid of the dark. Like, and I was pretty, just like, I don't mind nighttime, but just pitch blackness, like basically death's door. Not a fan of it. Like,
It's like cave dark. Like you can't go like that dark.
yeah.
And you
Nothing
do
in
that
front of your face.
And you wave your hand in front of your face for like 15 minutes, being like, is it there? Is it there? Is it there? And then I kept turning the lights on and off.
So part of your fear of this was that you were worried you'd cease to exist.
I just evaporate, dissolve in the water. I don't know what that water is.
It's so dark. I may have ceased to be a person.
And then
Where's my spotlight? Why isn't anyone watching me do this?
I'm usually in a spotlight right now. I should have a phone on me. I should be filming this. Everything is content. And then I was also scared that like an earthquake would happen, and then like the bricks of the roof would fall on the lid.
And then you would be locked inside the tank.
And imagine that. Imagine, like, if you survive that, you're forever the guy that survived the earthquake in the float tank, and you were never living that down. You're float tank guy.
Or you know what?
Die in there.
Because then you end up like the people in Pompeii. You end up sort of immortalized.
Preserved in the salty water.
Yeah, there are those people who are in like Mount Vesuvius having Pompeii,
yeah.
and they're forever preserved in lava fucking.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, it's the fucking couple from Pompeii. And you'd be like,
1,000 years later, that's not his wife.
yeah, fully.
I would hate for my body to be preserved in Pompeii just totally naked as well. Like, just lying, like, not even well posed, just totally released.
Or going like this.
Waving your hand in front of your face, not really realizing what's going on.
But that being said, I was in there for an hour, which is so long. That's so long. I honestly would pay for the experience again just to not be on my phone for like at least once in an hour.
Yeah.
But I did go crazy. Like, I lost my mind in there. And after a while, I was like, this is where I got to. So it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get stuck in here. I am the Pompeii man. Cut to 45 minutes later, my body is a vessel. It is garbage. I keep thinking, all I am is a empty bottle of Coke floating down a stream. Like, it's trash. Like, anyway, that's where I got to. So a major breakdown. But so I was.
So I would say not exactly enlightenment then. More
Well,
like
maybe it is
a
enlightenment.
crisis, maybe?
Because
Or-
I'm an empty vessel feels close to being like the good kind of enlightenment.
But then I'm trash floating down a river does undermine a lot of that. We are one with the universe.
Well, I was like, well, whatever my like spirit is, my like consciousness, like
Mm-hmm.
that is my like. This is going so deep, but that is me, and then this body is just like trash. Like, I keep thinking,
okay.
I was like, it is just the vessel for whatever my like soul is.
Yeah,
And this
okay.
vessel is just like a Coke bottle. Like, it's just floating down a stream. Look, I actually, telling the story now clearly doesn't make any sense, but I thought it was truly profound after
But
an hour
did
of not
that-
being on my phone. You know, I do think it changed me, which is why I suggested it for you both, because of all the kind of woo-woo stuff I've done. I went to drama school for 3 years. You know, like, there was a lot of rolling around the floor, crying, being animals, and then I was like, no, this was like, you know, X amount of money. I have no, it was a voucher, but like, it did somewhat shift something for me. So I was curious if it unlocked anything for you.
Well, Lewis, we did this a couple of days ago in the morning. You and I
Yes.
went together, but we were offered the couples package, which we could have floated together.
No. Can I just say that? Like, because I don't want to be floating next to my naked husband's body like we've both died on the Titanic and, you know, our corpses float. You know, like, it's just horrific. Like, waterlogged.
Yeah.
No.
Just two empty Coke bottles floating in a stream.
Massages, floats, they are individual experiences. You cannot gain anything more by then watching your partner's back get rubbed out by a masseuse. Like, it's not relaxing to see that.
You're constantly thinking about their enjoyment. You're like, I wonder if they're having a good time at my, and then you're just completely out of it.
And then what, like bobbing against each other because you're floating around? Like, it's horrific.
Yeah.
So what was your experience, Lewis?
Well, look, we went to a place that, like, you walk in and immediately you're going, oh, this place is designed to be relaxing. You know, it's got the music, it's got that little humidifier,
a
pump and stuff
diffuser
that-
of sense.
Yeah, diffuser of sense.
Pan flutes blasting.
Hand flutes, absolutely. And there's a sign that says you are now entering the Zen zone. And I'm like,
yeah.
get me into the Zen zone. And we had to watch a video on like an iPad that
I
was
think
like,
I watched a video too.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a very kind of like sexy woman being like really like sensually showering beforehand. And I'm like, this is like a bit softcore porn. And then she, there were a few things that they said at the start that did raise a few alarms. One of them was the emergency button. They're like, so here's where you turn the lights off and here's the emergency button. And I'm like, what kind of emergencies are you having in a 30 centimeter flotation tank? Like, is there a danger of becoming too relaxed?
Can you imagine the amount of people having full-blown panic attacks? I think it is like 3 times a day. They're like, "Oh well, we've got another screamer. get the net, scoop them out."
Chris is having another one of his episodes.
He's screaming, "I'm a bottle! I'm a bottle!" They got to get him out.
But did you, when you did it, have to sign a waiver
Yeah.
explaining all the things you didn't do that morning? So it was like that morning, you're not allowed to have had any, like, it was like no caffeine, no stimulants, no like high fiber. Like, it was like clearly like, we don't want you to shit yourself in the tank.
People have absolutely pissed and shit all through those tanks, surely, because you're so relaxed.
That's the thing, because there's also like a waiver where you have to say, I don't have any STIs. And then there's the, I don't have any problems with my bowels. And so all going in,
All you're thinking about is, well, someone shat in this.
someone's shat in this, there's probably herpes in here.
Yep.
Like, and it's not a chlorinated pool, this is all salt. So
Nothing but
I
salt,
had,
baby.
I
Salt.
did have that in my head going in. I was like, oh, well, I'm floating around
They
in
are
a STI.
large toilets, and in many ways, we are the poos. You know, like
Yes.
floating in the because they resemble it. You know, and you're just kind of floating there in many ways like a log.
Well, our one wasn't a tank. Ours was like a pool that you lay in. It was a flotation pool.
With a lid?
No, there was
lid.
there was no lid. But
Oh my god, I would have loved not to have had a lid.
Yeah, because I think there is
You ain't in a tank, yeah. You're in a spa pool.
Yeah, which I think made it a little less crazy making. I think the lid would have sent me into a claustrophobic panic. And I'm not claustrophobic really, but because you do lose senses, like there were a few things that surprised me. It was way shallower than I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I thought that I would be submerged, and you're really only the bottom half of you is submerged, and the top half of you is just out in the
Oh,
sky.
yeah, your penis is
out.
just sort of floating
Yeah.
around.
The
like-
bobbing penis. The
Yeah.
bobbing penis. So strange.
It is the worst way to see your own penis. Just half out while the bottom of you is submerged. You're just like, this is a sad vision.
Oh, that's why I was so scared someone was going to come in and be like, there's been an accident. Or like, we're under attack. I'm like, what? Like,
And then all thing is, what is going?
what's going on?
Why is your penis bobbing?
Why are you naked? For God's sake, the lady puts on togs in the video.
But I did, like, you shower and you get ready and you get nude, and the vibe is nice. Like,
Yeah.
it did have the blue lights, and even showering in a dark room with blue lights, I was like, I'm into this general calm energy. And it was early in the morning. We were doing it before work, so I was sort of...
How big was the room and how big is the pool? Because in my mind, the room is ginormous, and
No.
I'm seeing this like bowl, which is a pool. Like I really...
No, it was probably the same size as most public bathrooms, kind of thing. So it wasn't big.
Oh, okay, yes.
It's like a
you know.
big disabled toilet.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Okay. So when the
Yeah.
lights are, you can
You
can
have
blank
a
out the whole
sense
room.
of you can orient yourself in the room.
Yeah.
But then once it's black, it's really dark. Like it's really, really dark. You can't. There's not like an exit sign or any I don't know, smoke alarms or anything. There's no light at all. So you're just like,
Isn't that just amazing? Like, because sometimes you go into those hotel rooms or whatever that have like blackout curtains, and you're just like, and you wake up and you're like, where am I? Like, and suddenly you feel like you're in an entirely different direction of the room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
lost.
yeah.
so
It's like when you
confused.
put a cat in a bag and you're like, I can't believe this works. But that's us. We're the cat in the bag.
what do you mean a cat in a bag?
You know how when you have to move cats around, sometimes like vets will put them, or like animals, sometimes you put them in a bag, or you put
No,
like
you definitely put them in cages.
I've never bagged a cat.
You never bagged a cat?
First of all, I guess I've never had to move a cat, but I've never, if I had to, my first thought wouldn't be like, get a sack, put the cat in there.
Well, if you don't have a
POV,
cage,
you putting a cat in a bag. POV, you are the cat in the bag.
The other thing that I found weird about, another thing you had to like keep in mind going into this is because it's so salty. They give you a jar of Vaseline and some like Q-tips, and you have to cover any cut or thing that
Yeah.
you have.
Yes.
And I didn't think I had many, but I do have a 4-month-old daughter, and she will scratch you lovingly.
right.
Yes.
A bit like a cat.
Put her in a bag.
Calm her down, put her in the bag.
I've put her in the bag.
If she's screaming, just chuck her in the bag. She's a bit sore, whatever. Just put her in a bag.
Calms her right down. And- so I missed a few spots. I like a few things that I didn't realize. Like I must have had a cut on my leg that I didn't know.
Right,
And
yeah.
so the first 15 minutes for me were like, it's just a constant stinging.
Because it's
feeling.
saltier than the saltiest sea in the lands. You know, like it's so salty, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought I knew what water felt like. And then I went into the tank and I was like, this is like no water I've ever felt. It was almost milk.
It was goo.
It was it was slimy
What?
goo.
It was goo.
Really?
It was
Yeah.
gooey. Yeah.
Yeah, it was sort of like I would sort of wash it over my body occasionally.
Where did you go? Like, you weren't in a tank. You were in someone's room. They were probably watching.
I was looking at our sad penises.
Just like
Going,
there's like a
"Yes."
video later on, like 1 hour live stream, man in goo.
I'm trying to think of like I feel like in like sci-fi, it felt there's always there's a kind of sci-fi goo.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like
Yeah, it was. I think it was not the most viscous of goos. I would say it was a low on the viscosity scale, but it was more goo than water. I think.
yeah. I didn't actually notice how gooey it was until I got out. Like when I got out to get into the shower, that was when I was like, "Oh, I've got goo all over."
I don't know why you had goo on you. Yeah, honestly, I think it's supposed to be water. So
No, but
I
it's
don't know
so
what
thick.
budget discount the goo factory you went to, the goo ponds, like because you weren't in a tank, you were in a goo pool. It's
Did you not feel the water you bathed in was goo?
it
You
was
thought
like I was splashing about. Like
So in all of that, Lewis, when you
Yeah.
were sort of half in, half out, trying to get a bit in your eyes and not,
Yeah.
covered in goo.
Yeah.
What was your psychic experience? What was your like mental experience re-enlightenment?
I think at the start, because it does lock you in your brain so much, you really notice how fast your brain races. And so there's no external way to distract yourself, and you really go, "Oh, this brain is spinning," and it just and you really notice it, and you're trying to do the breathing thing, like, oh, I'll count to 10 and breathe, and you get to 3, and then suddenly you're thinking of something you did when you were 7, and you're just like, you're really boom, 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 like pinballing thoughts-wise.
Yeah, right.
And I was trying to control it, like trying to meditate and trying to control it, and then you're just thinking like, now I could feel most of my body, but my butt was the thing. I was like, oh, I've lost my butt. My butt's gone. I was like, where does my butt
swallowed
begin?
by the goo?
Yeah, my butt's been swallowed by the goo, and that was quite distracting.
We are all but one butt, like
Yeah.
in the universe.
because the butt is in many ways the back. It's the end of the back.
Well, I was sort of like, I think I just. Oh, it became like I was only half a body, the top half, and the back half was gone.
Wow.
Although there was a part where I was like, oh, I think I need to fart. And I thought to myself, this is the most high-risk fart I will ever do in my life. Because if this goes wrong, they do say in the waiver that if you defecate in the pool, you have to pay for the replacement of the water. And I don't know how expensive it is, but I don't know where you get goo from these days.
I think in our one, they just flushed it. Like
immediately,
like the water regenerates inside the human toilet bowl that you're in. But
they're reusing our goo.
Yeah.
Are they?
I think so.
Oh no.
Maybe that's why it was so gooey.
Like it starts off as water, but like after people's horrible germs get in there and mix, it sort of gets into a bit of a paste.
So, did you reach enlightenment?
What I would say is I found it very stressful at the start because it really drew attention to how busy my brain was. And I was sort of thinking this would take forever. I was like, oh, this hour is going to be the longest hour of my life. And probably for the first 20 minutes, that's how I felt. And then I think suddenly something must have clicked because then it was just over. I think I went from a really stressful 20 minutes to 40 minutes just going like that.
You fell asleep.
Maybe.
Yeah, I reckon you've got a kid.
I haven't slept in months.
Well, it sounds like you just had a lovely sleep. Did you reach enlightenment? I had a little mini nap.
I don't think I did.
Lewis has been napping at work quite a bit recently.
Yeah, I have been.
You lost track of. Oh well, maybe it was enlightenment or like.
I wouldn't say enlightenment.
Were your eyes closed?
It felt really simple. Well, it's hard to say with the blackness. Who knows?
Isn't that weird, right? Like, because I always wonder what the line is between just having your eyes closed for a really long time versus sleepers.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's REMs. Yeah, it's a similar thought into like your butt is just a back, but I think like what is just your eyes closed versus what is asleep? Because when you're in the tank and then it's kind of a tree in the woods. It's like if it falls over, does it make a noise? It's like if you're in a completely dark room and your eyes are open. Or
can you
closed,
see?
Are you asleep?
But do you meditate? Do either of you meditate?
I refuse to. No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I hate slowing down.
Yeah, I get that. But I grew up in a hippie family. We used to go to meditation camps like all summer. That was like my childhood.
And yet you are here looking for enlightenment. Isn't that interesting?
Well, because whatever your parents think is cool, you think sucks.
Yeah.
So the moment I turned 16, I was like, all things that are good for you are terrible.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
just stopped doing all of them and started doing all the things that are terrible for you. And now, sort of sometime later, I was like, oh, maybe they were on to a couple of things, which is very difficult for me to admit, that maybe my parents were right about some stuff. But I've always meditated on and off.
Interesting.
But usually hate it and give up. But the few times I've done it and it's worked, it felt like that. So I think if you struggle to meditate or you like to meditate, I feel like flotation tanks are like a bit of a cheat to get you into that place.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How was your experience?
I think I had a different experience to you guys.
What a surprise.
So I went in. The first thing they said to me is when I was looking at the.
Would you like to go in with your husband?
when they were looking at, when I was watching the video, they were talking about the potential benefits of this, and they were saying relaxation is good for your muscles. One of the things they said was that this could be good for your cardiovascular fitness, and I was like, I cannot see how, because generally with cardio, what you want to do is be moving.
Yeah.
You want to be running, jogging. And then this was meant to be like, you're going to be lying there flat in a pool of goo.
Yeah.
I cannot understand how this was going to be good.
But maybe it's because it slows down your heart.
Sure,
like heart
maybe.
rate.
Yeah.
It teaches your heart how to slow down.
Well, I'm
working for Big Tank now.
Big goo. Yeah.
So immediately from the jump, I was pretty skeptical of this.
Uh-huh.
I was going in there being like, I don't know about this. This is making some pretty wacky claims about health that I don't agree with. Got in there, showered off, lay in the pool. immediately donked my head on the side of the pool.
Concussed. Out. 45 minutes. Woke up. Can't remember my name.
I then turned the light off, and then what happened was I began to descend into, I would say, one of the most intense madnesses of my life.
Wow.
So I was in the dark, and immediately I think for me the air was exactly the same temperature as my body and exactly the same temperature as the water. So I lost complete space and time in the tank or in the pool, and I was just like, I felt like I was floating and flying. I felt like I was like, what the fuck is happening?
This is working. I think it worked.
Yeah,
on
that's
you.
actually what I wanted to
I
feel
then I then felt myself rotating in the bath, but obviously
yeah.
I knew I understood I couldn't be rotating because
You're like, I'm going to fly away.
But I felt like I was like spinning around.
And were you like speeding up like a propeller or?
Or
Yeah.
going down like a toilet.
getting quicker and quicker and quicker, and I was feeling a bit dizzy and stuff, and I was like, okay.
Were you wasted when you went in?
Yeah, I was really drunk. No.
Did you take caffeine before?
No caffeine. I hadn't eaten anything.
Had you done cocaine?
I had done a lot of cocaine.
It's like when you're drunk and they're always like, and when you get really, it's like, it's POV, you drunk? No, it's like when you get wasted and you have to put like one foot out of the bed to try and stop the.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
you may have needed that.
I was really spinning out, and then I tried to reach out. This is the craziest thing. I tried to reach my hands out to touch the sides of the pool, and they weren't there. And that's when I was like, oh, this is crazy. So I think maybe the sides of the pool were the same temperature as well, and I just lost the ability to feel.
Maybe they were fucking with you. You know, maybe they were
Yeah.
like, we'll give him that expanding pool. We'll get this guy. Wait till he's in there, and then we'll grow the sides of the pool.
It was quite a big pool. Maybe you turned sideways. Maybe
Yeah,
you
or
floated
something.
like 90 degrees.
But I tried to reach and couldn't find, and I was like, okay, reality has ceased to exist, Michael. Now it's time for you to just go with this. And then I was like, then the intrusive thought I couldn't get rid of in my mind was, okay, so I'm doing some comedy shows right now, and there's been a bit in my show that I have been forgetting every night. And so the intrusive thought I had as I was spinning through the universe was, now's the time for you to remember that bit in your show and practice it.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you have an hour. Absolutely toxic trait.
100%. 100%. So then as I was spiraling through the universe, I began to do rote memory learnt stand-up comedy.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Like, literally started from like, hey everyone, it's good to be here. Like, literally like,
From the top.
from the top of the show, trying to remember and making sure I did all the beats. And
Now
then-
I so wish there was a live feed of your room. Because the idea of like a infrared camera or whatever, seeing your naked body floating around, going ooh, like around 360 and being like, hi everyone, I'm loving being in Sydney. Wonderful weather. Just screaming into the universe.
literally, and I started like doing the show. Which so at the show I'm doing now, I've done like 40 times at this point because I've been touring it. But and there's just one bit that I keep forgetting, and so I got to that bit, and then I couldn't remember the next bit. Like it's still stumbling, and so then I was just like, well, I guess I just need to. The reason I'm tripping up is maybe like I'm not really fully accessing the truth of that moment, and so that began another thing where I was like. Began to deconstruct the work that I've been doing.
Yeah, go deep, go deep. Go
And then
deep in the goo.
More spiraling. More spiraling.
And literal spiraling
Yeah.
as well.
Wow.
And anyway, but then I realized as I was coming conscious again, I realized I was like shouting bits. Like I wasn't just being like, hey everyone. I was like being like, and then like I was just like full volume.
Oh my god.
Like just yelling into the void.
Doing crowd work.
Yeah. So what do you do for a living? Ah man.
Anyone here ever done a flotation tank?
So you two together?
So this went on for about 40 minutes, and then
they were like, should we go in there? Sometimes they yell. We've got a yeller in room 6.
He's bombing.
he's pausing for laughter. There's no laughter. To do a joke and then pause and then just hear the milky water of the goo washing against the sides of the pool is harrowing.
Oh.
So about 40 minutes in or 50 minutes in, a chime started to play, which they had warned me was like 10 minutes towards the end. We would get some music, and I was like, okay. So now we're coming towards the end of
your hour of comedy.
And I was like, but I haven't done the big finish. No. So I was like, I'd kind of like spiraled a bit. But then as we were going out, I remembered they'd given me a water spray bottle, and they'd said, if you ever get any of the goo in your eyes, wash it out with a water spray bottle. And I was like, well, if I want this to be a full experience, I need to just splash a bit in my eyes just to see how it goes.
What is this man doing?
He had a breakdown in there. What the hell is wrong with you?
What?
You went in there, went over your show, and then deliberately sabotaged yourself. Like, you don't need a photo tank. You need therapy. You need to sit down with a therapist and be like, why are you robbing yourself of just simple joy and pleasure?
So then I was like lying on my back, and I splashed a bit of water into my eyes, and it
You
was
hurt yourself, yeah.
the most painful thing I've experienced.
Because they said,
What a surprise!
don't do it.
There couldn't have been clearer.
It's like having Band-Aids there being like, and if you cut yourself, and then you being like, well, better find a knife. I've got to use these Band-Aids.
So then I'm like,
What is
my
wrong
eyes
with
are
you?
watering. I'm like, ow!
And it's just going to ruin the end of my show.
So then I grabbed the spray bottle. I'm trying to spray myself in the face with this spray bottle, but it wasn't on mist. It was on arrow. Does that make sense? It wasn't on like
Yeah, because it's not a facial mist. It's an emergency eye relief.
and it it wasn't on like psh, it was on pew, like it was on laser. So I water lasered me in the face, and I was like, oh god, that was hurting. And so then the music was still playing, and then I was like, okay, gotta get in the shower. So then I showered off.
Your walkout song.
and then
Thank you so much, everyone. I'm Michael Hing. Good night.
Please never come back here again. Then they turn on the lights, you realise you've shat and pissed through the entire pool. Like, we've got to ban this guy. He comes in, he yells for an hour. He splashes about.
But then, as I walked out of the thing, I'd showered off and whatever. I walked out. I felt quite relaxed. But then,
Can't believe it. Probably because of the cardio workout.
but as I was walking past one of the other rooms, I heard the shower going. And I was like, oh man, if I can hear the shower that guy's having, everyone heard me yelling. Everyone heard me just doing jokes. Like,
Oh my god. It is a
mortifying.
nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Mortifying!
But
Can you imagine just walking past and like, oh, is that the guy from Triple J? Oh, he went into the tank and then yelled jokes for 40 minutes.
that is not the issues of the float tank place and their terrible acoustics. This is all on you for doing your comedy routine while in a float pool.
Maybe next year's tour should be you in a
float tank. Trying to do
It's like
comedy.
with a microphone.
And we're all just
poised.
listening.
Yeah.
Everyone's just walking around town connected to it.
Anyway, I don't think I'm going to do it again. Lewis.
No, dude. I don't think they would want you back. What a nightmare.
You're a nightmare.
So because you shower off the goo,
Yeah.
and then you go out and you go back to the Zen zone,
Yeah.
and you sit down and I had another herbal tea.
Oh, right, yeah.
At the end of that, I mean, for you lost your mind. For
Yeah.
you lost your mind.
Yeah.
For me, I may have slept.
But I do think losing your mind is part of it. I mean, because
Well, yes.
what you're describing inside, I mean, before you were like, well, I've got a bit of time to kill, should probably run over my show. It was like, a sense of like total
Nothing.
consciousness.
Yeah.
Or
It
whatever.
was
Like, you were gone.
that first
And at that
15
point is when
minutes.
you should have just leant in rather than being like, well, I can't do that. I'm a comedian. I should be running my material.
I'm
I
gonna
should be figuring out
resist.
a little angle on this.
So yeah, I did.
Like, what was your like when you left and you were out in the Zen zone?
Yeah.
What was your physical feeling?
Physical feeling was very relaxed.
Yeah.
Very relaxed. And then also, something I didn't mention is the first minute in the pool, I had used they give you a little floating disc to rest your head on.
The halo, they called it.
Yeah, and I hadn't used the halo initially.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had sort of stiffened my neck to keep it above. So I think so my neck was a little bit stiff.
Okay.
Before I used the halo, but otherwise very relaxed. That was my experience.
I mean, I guess the question is, like, in terms of what you are seeking, is it just relaxation or is it something more than that? Because then, this might not be the silver bullet that you needed, right?
I think it's on a scale. Obviously, if we manage to find the thing that genuinely fixes everything, great. But if we can find something that just moves the needle, that's still good.
Do you think?
And I think for me, it moved the needle. Like I I left, like, you know when you...
That's why these tanks have been around since the invention of The Simpsons.
It's 1989.
So we got offered, as I was leaving, they offered me a deal. And they said,
Yeah.
if you want 2 more, you can book in now at a cheaper price. And I said, no, thank you. But did you take the deal?
I took the brochure.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're like, we got him.
Yeah.
We got him.
So, Lewis, is this your silver bullet?
Well, I felt really relaxed for about 3 hours. So that's...
Okay.
And then after that, real life came back.
Yeah.
Sure.
But for 3 hours, like, they also told me that an 1 hour in the float tank is the equivalent to 3 to 4 hours sleep.
Wow.
And I don't think that's true.
No.
I didn't have that experience.
You had 45 minutes.
We
know that.
The equivalent
We know that.
45 minutes sleep.
If I'd have stayed awake, mathematically, I would have gotten more sleep from the floatation tank. But I
It's
would
weird how it
say,
does that. Yeah, that's the eyes closed sort of thing in the darkness. It's the maths of it all.
I reckon it moved the needle. Like it helped. Did it fix me? No.
Yeah.
But did it help a little? Yes.
Did you have a show that night?
No, I haven't done a show.
Well, you did a show that morning.
I haven't done a show yet since then. So I don't know if the tags I wrote in the tank.
Oh, you wrote some
Oh,
material in the tank. You
Well,
weren't just reciting.
I was, you know,
You're horrific.
yeah.
They were a hot crowd.
I don't know if the tags. I don't know if the material that I conjured in the tank.
You'll be like, hey guys, you know when you are just a speck of dust in an infinite universe? Who's with me?
Lost consciousness.
So I was floating around in the universe, and I was thinking to myself, "Hey,
You know when your butt's just your back?
My first shows are this week since then. So they'll be this weekend. So I don't know how it's going to go. But this
would
could
be
change
ama-
everything.
yeah, maybe you've written a whole new hour you don't even realize."
There's a whole part where I begin to question the truth of the jokes and reality. And it's...
Where is the limit? I mean, where's the wall? We don't even know where the walls are. I mean, in many ways, it's infinite.
So I would say maybe not silver bullet. I'd say classic, probably just like a tin bullet for me.
Okay.
Classic tin.
So,
Yeah.
but would you? Because I can't really tell whether you liked it or not.
I want to see how these shows go. And
Interesting.
if this blows it out of the water, then I'll be back there all the time. But
Wow.
The fact that you've linked it into your stand-up is just the most toxic level of seeking enlightenment. Like, you have to set yourself free in this quest for a single silver bullet for enlightenment. It cannot be any way linked to your stand-up. Any way. It's the comedian's curse.
But I will say that currently it was probably too terrifying experience for me to rush back to.
And Chris, are you doing it religiously?
I haven't
Going
been back.
You
I have not been back.
Okay, right.
I haven't been back. But
You're a very busy man. Is that just, would you go back?
Here's the only thing. I do feel like, all these things sort of prep us to like slow down and be like more conscious and like more at peace. And I don't think the world and the way it is requires us to be slow. It needs us to be like, go, go, go. Like, because there's nothing I hate more than someone who's like dawdling around an airport or like at a cafe and they're like, next please. And they're just like, woo, like away in their thoughts. You're like, get your coffee and go. Like, I need civilization to be like up with the pace of life.
But
I
don't
need
you?
everyone to be go, go, go.
But
go,
the
go, go,
question
go.
is, like, I think this really brings us back to the core of all of our problems and the flotation tank people and maybe the line between them.
Yes.
Don't you think that the dawdlers are happier?
They make me mad. You can't live life that way.
But they are.
Go to the woods. Go to the woods. Get out of the city and go to the woods.
The city is for anxiety. The woods are for calm.
Yeah, for dawdling.
If you want to dawdle, get in the woods. And get out of my line. Get out of my subway line. Subway?
Well, Chris Parker, thank you so much for bringing us the challenge of taking on a float tank. I don't think any of us really reached full enlightenment, but I think we got partially the way there.
Yeah.
Not quite a silver bullet, but certainly.
A bullet nonetheless.
Yeah.
And that is another episode of Silver Bullet, Lewis. Another incredible success for us
Yeah.
in terms of fixing ourselves. I feel fixed.
Yeah, that's right. But we will be back next week because I feel like you will need fixing in a couple of days.
Yeah, if you want to find where we'll be next week, you can find us on all the places you find podcasts. We're talking big brands, small brands, weird apps. Some of which will give you viruses, some of which won't. You know actually where you could find us,
Oh, yeah.
which will not give you any viruses.
Oh, yeah.
The ABC Listen app.
Oh, Michael, things sound so good on the ABC Listen
Oh,
app.
they do. You can follow us on the ABC Listen app. You
Yeah,
can
there's a
go-
little heart, or there's also a little follow button.
Exactly. You
I
can
don't-
like it. You can follow it. I don't know if you can leave reviews on the ABC Listen app. They probably can't afford the moderation of comments, but still, you know, I think you could find us on the ABC Listen app, and then that I think, do we get paid extra money if people listen through the ABC Listen app?
I don't believe so.
Damn
no.
it!
I know that's one of those little ABC quirks. Is no matter what we do, we'll never get paid more. But I will say, if you're hankering to leave some kind of review or get in touch with us in some way, and you are listening on the ABC Listen app, and you're like, oh, if only they had a comments function. Don't worry, we have an ABC email.
What's our email address?
silverbullet@abc.net.au.
And if you want to email Lewis personally, his personal email address is...
It's coolguy69@hotmail.com.
You can also watch us on YouTube, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.